there, bitches. What kind of introduction is that? I feel like my personality is gonna match this obnoxious outfit today. I don't think I can control it. So I've seen brands do all types of things, from greenwashing, pinkwashing, rainbow washing. At this point, I think it's become pretty obvious for all of us that corporations are trying to align themselves with social justice movements in order to profit off of them. It's performative corporate wokeness, and it basically looks like this. A brand, a corporation, pays an advertising agency, and they hire someone, a celebrity usually, or a diverse number of peoples, models, actors, and then they add hashtags for a movement, some inspirational quotes, some music that is gonna pull your heartstrings, and they basically sell you the illusion that they care about whatever social justice cause you are personally aligned with. They might also donate an insignificant amount of money to a charity related to that cause, and when I say insignificant, compared to the amount of profit that they make. A reason why this is a problem is because it aligns capitalism and consumerism with social justice causes. And usually capitalism and consumerism come in complete odds with whatever social justice cause you stand for. For example, when it comes to feminist t-shirts, I've made an entire video about that you can watch over here. These feminist t-shirts that are produced by predominantly fast fashion brands are produced by the hands of women that are sexually assaulted, underpaid, even child labor, working in unsafe, unhygienic conditions, and a lot more. So the production of an item that is supposed to be a physical manifestation of feminism is produced through the opposite of feminism, through female exploitation and abuse. So every time that I see brands taking part in performative corporate wokeness, I am going to be calling them out. I have been calling them out for years. And in this specific case today, I'm going to be talking about Missguided, Dove, and Ben & Jerry's, which all have recently made a total fool of themselves online. And I'm going to be calling them out. I love this part of my job so much. So Missguided recently got called out for stealing designs from people of color, specifically the brand TLZL Femme. But that's not where the story ends. It gets so much more infuriating when you look into it. When you go on Missguided's Instagram page, it says, "Committed to empowering all." Do you empower all by stealing designs of small brands and independent designers and like mass produce them in what we're gonna soon find out is sweatshops? Like, that just does not make sense. By the way, the company owner of Missguided is Nitin Pasi. He has a £250 million net worth.
So Missguided is a fast fashion business selling predominantly on the internet to a 20-something customer. I started the business in 2009 on a small loan from my father.
When you go on their website, you can see that again they're talking about empowerment. They say, "Our mission is to empower females globally." First off, because they're repeating this whole empowerment thing, it's probably like a really strong mission statement of the company. How do you even empower women through making them spend money on a business that is male owned and therefore making a male millionaire even richer? Like, I don't see a lot of female empowerment in that. And also there's just such a hypocrisy when a man is like, "I am here to help women empower themselves." Shut the fuck up. And then when you scroll down and they're talking about their products, there's again no mention of the workers that produce these products. They only talk about the designers. They also have a collaboration with Playboy, which, like, that's also empowerment, I guess. Collaborating with a brand that has historically objectified women. Definitely, yes, empowerment. And then it says in the end, "Who run this mother?" A dude runs this mother. Thanks, Nitin, for helping us empower ourselves. Wow, what a great guy. This is an ally to the feminist movement for sure. And then on ID, they have an article about Boohoo, Pretty Little Thing, and Missguided, and they mention that they're made in Leicester factories. And then when I saw that they were made in Leicester, I remembered Venetia Lamana on Instagram. She'd made a post about this, about how workers in these factories in Leicester were making £3.50 an hour, while the UK minimum wage is £8.72 an hour, which is more than double what they were paying their workers. This was highly illegal labor. These were sweatshops producing these clothes. Again, how are you empowering women when the workers in these garment factories that are predominantly women are being insanely underpaid? Like, I'm gonna try to not yell because I always ruin the sound in my videos, but like, how can I not yell when there's this dude here saying that I am here to help women empower themselves by just forcing women in factories to work severely below the minimum wage, and then collaborate with Playboy, steal other designs of women. Just like, I can't. Anyways, I look at these clothes, I'm like, these look very unoriginal, very uninspired, very low quality. No one wearing these. Like, these dresses, these clothes are not gonna do any favors to anyone wearing them. But then I looked at the prices as well, and I saw this dress and it was 12 euros. And the crazy thing is that I can't even sell my stuff on Depop for such a low price without knowing that I'm like not gonna make pretty much any profit out of them. Like, if I sell a dress on Depop, a secondhand dress, it means I thrifted it for around 7 euros. So scratch those off of the profit. And then also Depop is gonna take 10%. So if I'm selling it for 12 euros, then €1.20, scratch that off. And then we have packaging and the time that it takes to take the pictures as well and to post the list, then put the listing up on Depop. Basically, I make like €3. I make €3 off of a 12 euro listing up on Depop of a secondhand dress. This stuff is cheaper than secondhand clothes, and the only way for them to make profit out of them is if they sell massive quantities. They keep the prices low through having the lowest quality possible and the highest exploitation of labor possible. This contributes to the destruction of our environment. It's just, I've made countless videos on this. If you don't know it at this point, like, what rock have you been living under? So yeah, that's pretty much it about Missguided. I mean, their whole corporate motto is so hypocritical. It's literally just making fun of its own consumers at this point. Like, the facts are in your face. Like, really committed to empowering all. Who's buying this? Who's believing this? I get having to buy something that you need from fast fashion if you can't find your size, for example, in secondhand stores. I get it. But Missguided is online, you know? You can't try it on, so you can't know if it's gonna fit right. Don't play yourself, girl, don't play yourself. Another thing that infuriated me was the new Dove #PassTheCrown campaign. I saw a lot of people advertising Dove on Instagram, and you know, to that, all I have to say is, girl, get your coin. You know, if you need the money, you need the money, although I don't believe it's fair to profit as an influencer through promoting genuinely evil corporations that are, again, taking part in performative corporate wokeness, pretending that they care about a specific cause in order to convince you to work with them and accept their money. On one hand, you know, it's really hard to make money ethically under this capitalist system. I totally get that. Even if you don't make money from advertising stuff on your Instagram, getting a real job does not mean that you're not going to be contributing to an evil corporation making money, that's for sure. But I do want to discuss the message of the #PassTheCrown campaign, because I actually do believe in the message, and I do believe in the cause that they are supporting, to basically normalize the hair of women of color, to remove the stigma behind it, and to basically create a new perception that yes, the hair of women of color are equally as professional as the hair of white women or of Asian women. I mean, even a friend of mine, she's mixed, and she has received comments about her hair in a professional environment, and she has been told that it looked unprofessional unless she straightened it. I've even heard instances of girls being forced by their schools to straighten their hair. So this hair discrimination starts from a really young age, and it continues on to the work environment, where women of color are basically forced to wear Western hairstyles in order to look professional. It's like straight up racism. I mean, obviously, and it's great that this campaign is trying to remove this stigma. The problem is that through buying more Dove products, you're not gonna remove that stigma. The problem with all of this is that Dove is owned by Unilever, and I've already made 2 videos about Unilever. I don't want this video to also turn into a Unilever video. You can find these videos here and in the description box below. In these videos, I've discussed the labor exploitation, the environmental destruction, and the racism that Unilever has taken part in. And specifically, Dove has released products that are skin whiteners. And honestly, I can't think of a more racist product than that. Not to mention, you know, these products don't only lighten your skin, they have extremely dangerous chemicals in them. They're not safe for the user. And on top of that, their products contain ingredients that are sourced through slave labor and child labor. So, I mean, do I really need to say any more to convince you that Dove and Unilever are terrible companies? Ending racism and stigma against the hair of people of color is a fantastic cause, but doing it through capitalism, doing it through consuming a product that is produced through racism and labor exploitation, in my opinion, is not the way to do it. We can donate directly to causes, we can volunteer to causes, we can advocate on our platforms for causes, but just not through capitalism. That's not going to solve anything. Now, you might say that this company is perhaps changing their ways, and perhaps this is, you know, the company is evolving and they're becoming more aware and they're becoming more open and less racist. You know, it's a lovely sentiment, and I wish we lived in a world like that, where corporations, multinational corporations that have been built on the backs of slave labor and producing products that are literally unsafe for the consumer. I wish we lived in a world where businesses and corporations like this could actually grow and evolve and become better, but that's not the world that we live in. I'm sorry. Time and time again, it has been proven that these corporations are spending millions on ad campaigns to literally brainwash us into believing that they actually care about a cause. It's marketing. That's all it is. They're not really changing their business strategies. They're not changing the distribution of wealth within their companies. They're not changing the cruelty in which their materials are sourced and their products produced. If the structure of the company isn't changing, if the CEOs are making millions every year while the workers are making just cents, nothing is changing. The only way to combat this is through supporting small local businesses, and even better, co-ops. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but capitalism is not gonna fix itself through capitalism. And finally, let's discuss Ben & Jerry's and how they have come across as this super anti-racist brand in the last few months. Is it true? Is it not true? Vote now. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I think you probably already know where this is going. So Ben & Jerry's genius PR team has managed to have them in the last few months come across as one of the most anti-racist radical brands out there. Just genius marketing. What a fantastic job they did. Gotta give them kudos to that, you know. They posted this whole mission statement after the execution of George Floyd, where they said, "We must dismantle white supremacy." They had a whole text underneath about how much they disagree with white supremacy and how much they're gonna fight against it. They also made a corporate statement in 2016 about Black Lives Matter, standing in support of them. Their current statement against white supremacy got them a ton of positive press. I saw a lot of people on Instagram and on TikTok also just singing their praises. I am once again gonna ruin something that most of you probably love, and I feel terrible about doing it. First off, Ben & Jerry's is a Unilever company, and just like I said with Dove, I've made 2 specific videos about Unilever and about all the messed up and problematic things that they've done and illegal things that they've done and the way that they run their business. I'm not going to get into too much detail with that, but if you are educated about what a terrible, terrible company Unilever is, then the argument pretty much ends there, because if you know about Unilever, then you know that Ben & Jerry's is just another tentacle of an incredibly evil corporation. But let me continue, because there's more to say. So Ben & Jerry's have done something incredibly savvy in order to promote their business as this woke corporation through hiring Christopher Miller, who claims to be an activist, and he was a climate campaigner for Greenpeace, which might even be the reason why Greenpeace took such a long time to speak out against meat and dairy, considering that animal agriculture is one of the top contributors to climate change. Maybe it's completely unrelated, but Greenpeace failed to speak out about an important contribution to climate change for a super long time. First off, I find it incredibly weird for a corporation to hire someone to be their professional activist. How exactly does that work? What is the job of this professional activist? Is his job to investigate the corporation and expose all the human rights violations that it takes part in, or all the ways that it destroys the environment? I'm not sure what the job of a corporate activist is. I mean, I imagine that his job is to do things like this, to make posts on behalf of Ben & Jerry's and say that Ben & Jerry's stands against white supremacy, or they support the Black Lives Matter movement, or any other cause. I mean, in 2015, they did a climate change campaign. They released a non-vegan ice cream flavor called Save Our Swirled, and they had an online petition calling global leaders to nail down concrete steps to curb global warming, and they have this motto saying, if it's melted, it's ruined. Is this a joke? Because animal agriculture is the leading cause of climate change, and as far as I remember, ice cream's main ingredient is milk, which comes from cows that are the least eco-friendly animal out there, because cow farts and cow burps release methane, which is 84 times more potent than CO2. Is this a joke? Are they kidding? Their product directly contributes to climate change. So, as an activist, Christopher Miller, I don't get what his job is. He says he's not a marketer. He says he's not professionally trained in advertisement. He is an activist. That's what he says. What kind of activist is he exactly? If they actually cared about climate change, they would have transitioned into a 100% plant-based recipe since like yesterday. This is clearly propaganda. Christopher Miller is not an activist. He's a propagandist. He is an activist for capitalism. He's an activist for Ben & Jerry's. He's an activist for Unilever. His job is to actively convince us that Ben & Jerry's cares about anything that we care about. That's his job. And then another thing that I want to point out is, again, the key ingredient in these ice creams is milk. And in my video about veganism and intersectionality, I talk more about how lactose intolerance mainly affects people of color. Lactose intolerance is the inability to digest milk, and it leads to symptoms like abdominal pain, bloating, flatulence, nausea, diarrhea, and then long-term it can lead to osteoporosis. And then the other thing that I mentioned in that video is milk subsidies, and how 3% of food subsidies in the US go to dairy, while only 0.45% of food subsidies go to fruit and vegetables. And I get more into detail with that in that video that you can watch over here. So yeah, that's another layer of Ben & Jerry's hypocrisy. You say you stand up against white supremacy, well, your ingredients reinforce white supremacy. And not only that, they harm the majority of the people of color that consume their products. And I mean, not only people of color, they harm everyone. They're full of sugar, they're full of unhealthy ingredients. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. A huge thank you to my patrons for supporting this channel, making these videos possible. If you want to help me make more videos like this, then consider supporting me on Patreon. I have the link in the description box below.
So the camera just caught off, but basically I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!